Hello guys, welcome to StudyIQ. I am Safir. In this session, we are going to discuss about architecture in the medieval time. So we already completed about the architecture in ancient time. We discussed about Indus Valley civilization. We discussed about Maurya period. We discussed about post-Maurya period. We discussed about Gupta period. We discussed about the temple architecture in North India, that is a Nagara style. South India, that is a Dravida style. We discussed the variations like Odisha style, Chandela style, Solanki style, Vijayanagar style, and Nayaka style, and the other types of temple architecture like Visara, Hoysala. All these have been completed. With that, architecture from the ancient side is covered. Now we are going to medieval. After this, we're going for modern. So let's start with the medieval India from the architecture perspective. So what is the main difference between architecture in ancient and medieval? That is something which we can discuss first, and then I'll be discussing about the features of medieval architecture and all. So guys, if you see, the architecture in ancient is what you call as Trapeate. Okay, so all the architectural features of ancient period are clubbed under Trapeate architecture. So this is related to ancient architecture. So what about medieval? It is arcuate. Okay, so architectural features of medieval architectural features are clubbed under arcuate. So we will have to see what is the main difference. Let's look into that difference. What are the bases that we are taking? Let's start with the entrance. Now how the entrance looks like in ancient, it is just like flat top. So there will be a lintel entrance. Lintel entrance means there is a flat like this. There is a normal door kind. It is a flat roof, right? The floor is flat, like the door is flat. So it's a flat roof type. Okay, so that's what. How about medieval? In arcuate, it will be arc. So I'll just write arc. So it will be something like this. So this is the arc. The entrance will be flat here. Here it will be arc. And then how about the top? Guys, on top, in ancient we have already learned, we have seen that there will be shikhara. When we discussed about Nagara style, we discussed about shikhara, which is nothing but on a flat top, on the base, there will be a curvilinear tower. So here it will be shikhara. And when we discussed about Dravida style, we discussed about Vimana. So which is again a pyramidal structure. So we discussed shikhara and Vimana. If you want, you can draw the diagram also. This is one like curvilinear tower, and here this is like a pyramidal structure. Okay, so that is something which we have done already. How about this one? Dome. Okay, so it will be something like this. And how about the towers? Towers, if you see here, you will be finding there is no towers absent. Here you will be finding the minar. Okay, so the material used, like what about the material used? Here it will be mainly stone, but when it comes to medieval, you will be using brick, lime, mortar. Mortar means what? It is a mix of sand, cement, some small stones, etc. And this started using from the medieval time onwards. So this is the main difference between Trapeate and the arcuate style of architecture. One in the ancient and the other related to the medieval. Okay, so guys, now again let's come back to the medieval time architecture. So when we will discuss Delhi Sultanate, and that also we will discuss provincial and imperial. And then when we discussed about Mughal, here also we will discuss imperial and provincial. So what we do now is we will be combining this two, the imperial of Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal. Okay, imperial means where the king is there. That's what. Okay, provincial means it is distant from there. Okay, so here we will be discussing about the imperial. We'll be clubbing both of Delhi Sultanate and the Mughals, and we'll see the features. So let me give a heading here that I'm going to discuss the features of Indo-Islamic architecture. Guys, let's discuss about the features of Indo-Islamic architecture. Remember that I'm clubbing both Delhi Sultanate and Mughal, and we will discuss the features. Now, let's go like this, and at a point of time, we will be covering all the rulers, important rulers, their contributions, etc. These are some small contributions they won't ask you in mains, so they can ask you directly like this only, features of Indo-Islamic architecture. So we will prepare like this, and if a question is asked, you should be in a position to write like this. Prelims, they can ask you specific rulers, specific contribution like that, and that is going to be very easy. So that also we will cover along with this. Chances of getting specific question from here in mains is very less, so we will do it together. Okay, so first one, we have already discussed about few things here. You can take that from here. This is one thing which you can write, right? And then dome you can write. Then you can also write this one, minar, and use of mortar, brick, lime, etc. These are features which you can write first. So let me write that first. Presence of arc and dome. Okay, and then you can write the presence of minar. Now it is meant for Asan announcement. Okay, so that is the main objective of minar. And then use of mortar. Okay, so mortar, that is something which is a mix of sand, cement, and some small stones, which they started using for the first time from medieval time. So use of mortar. Guys, need to remember this. They will ask you exactly like this, features of Indo-Islamic architecture. If you get it something like this, now you have to thank God, right? It is a very direct, straightforward question. Everybody else also will write. You cannot afford to miss this. You should be knowing very clearly, like the way we discussed Indus Valley civilization and other areas also. You can't take any chance. Same way temple architecture we discussed. So we have to discuss exactly in the same way the features with examples, with the diagram like that. Okay, so use of mortar as cementing agent. Okay, and yeah, they avoided human representation. So they avoided human representation in their architectural setup. So no human representation. Now guys, next is slightly diplomatically I'm using some terms, and I'll explain that also. So they provided spaciousness. They provided spaciousness, massiveness, and breadth to existing Hindu and Jain architecture. What do you mean by this? I told you this is something which is diplomatically used. Actually, they converted the Hindu and Jain architectures into Islamic architecture. So that is what I mean by they provided spaciousness. That means modified. So they converted into Islamic architecture actually. Okay, so that's what you mean by this. And you know, if it is Hindu architecture, there will be some idols, deities, etc. will be kept inside that. So just before I told you, they avoided human representation. So those idols and deities were actually removed, because here there is no possibility, there is no human representation in the architecture. Okay, so I hope this point is very clear. So next one, they focused on decoration. Through calligraphy and arabesque pattern. Calligraphy and arabesque patterns. Guys, from their perspective, the Persian script originally was not looking good. So they have just tried to angularize it to make it look good like the Devanagari script. And then the angularized Persian script is what you call as Kufi. So what is Kufi? It is nothing but the angularized Persian script, okay, the original script. So actually when I discussed about calligraphy, I just told you. What about this one, arabesque or arabesque? It is nothing but some kind of it's a pattern, it's images of a plant. So when you draw this, there will be a stem and then there will be some leaves, and it has to be drawn, it has to be made in a symmetrical way on both sides of the stem. It is not necessary that it will be of one pattern, it can be of different patterns of different types of leaves, but there will be a stem and both the sides it has to be symmetrical. So if I want to show you an example, like this, we have a stem and then we will have something like this. Okay, so I'll have to make it symmetrical. So whatever I have in the left side, so that is what I have to get it in the other side also. So something like this. Okay, so it should be looking really good. So this is what I mean by arabesque pattern. So guys, it's not necessary that it has to be like this. It could be something like this also. Okay, so something like this. But both sides, it should be the same. Can you see both sides? It is symmetrical. So this is what I mean by arabesque pattern. So they have focused on decoration with this kind of pattern. So if you want, you can just write one line in bracket. It is a vegetal pattern which is symmetrical and similar on both sides of the stem or either sides. That's enough. Okay. Now the next one, they use various geometrical shapes and patterns to decorate the building. So they used geometrical shapes and patterns to decorate the building. Now what are the geometric shapes which you can use? You can use triangle, you can use a square, you can use the circle, you can use the rectangle. Like if you see there is a wall or beneath the wall or on the top of the wall or on the side of the wall, you may keep something like this. These are some kind of triangular, pattern which is made, right? So this kind of geometrical patterns will be used for the decoration purpose of the building. And guys, this period is also known for, which is in fact very important, it is known for jali work. It means it's like plaster of Paris windows you'll be making. Okay, so jali work is very famous, intricate jali work on the walls. So you can write that, intricate jali work on walls. Okay, so it signifies Jharoka for women and sunlight to enter inside the shrine. So that's about the features. And then use of water fountains you will see. Okay, so there will be water fountains and then there will be courtyards, pools. Okay, courtyard means in the center, like you will be getting sunlight from the top, direct sunlight from the top. It is an open area. So courtyard, pools inside the premise. Okay, and then introduction of 4 gardens, Charba style. Introduction of gardens, Charbagh style. 4 gardens, Charbagh style. Okay, and then next one, use of Petra Dura technique. Okay, so it means some designs will be made, and in that some precious stones and semi-precious stones will be used to decorate it. So let's say this is one design which is made. Okay, so here you will be using some kind of precious stones, right, to decorate it. Semi-precious or precious stones will be used to decorate this kind of designs. If you want, you can just write one line over there. It refers to inlay of precious and semi-precious stones and colored marbles on the surface. So on the design which is made on the wall. So this kind of designs which is made on the wall, and then you will use the precious stones on that design to decorate it. Next one is also one of the important feature, use of four-sightening technique to create illusion of 3D. So you can just write that, use of four-sightening technique. Four-sightening technique to create illusion of 3D. So guys, this is what the main features of Indo-Islamic architecture. We will be continuing the discussion with the other things and with the development and everything, but this is something which you need to know. So what we did today, we were just talking about this one. We started off with medieval India, and then I told you what's the main difference between ancient and medieval. So ancient architecture, all the features classified under Trabeate, okay, and medieval arcuate. So if you look into this main that you can see lintel entrance. If you see the entrance here, it is an arc. So this itself is one of the feature that we are writing. Now here on top you will find Shikhara and Vimana, which is a curvilinear tower and one other is pyramidal structure. And Shikhara in the Nagara style of temple architecture, Vimana Dravida style. Okay, here you will be finding the dome, and towers there is absent in Trabeate setup, and then minars you will find. This is for the purpose of Asan announcement. And material used is mostly the stone. Here, brick, lime, mortar. Mortar is again, which is very important. So these things that we discussed, arc, dome, minar, mortar, are the features when it comes to Indo-Islamic architecture. So there is no need to have any confusion, right? These are the features. Arc and dome are present. Minar, that is for Azan announcement. Use of mortar, that is nothing but the sand, cement and some small stones. And then this is very important, no human representation. What do you mean by they made the existing architecture, Jain and Hindu architecture, more spacious and massive and breadth? They have actually converted that into Islamic architecture, and they have taken out the idols in that also because they don't allow the human representation. And then calligraphy and arabesque patterns. Calligraphy is related to handwriting. So I've told you angularized Persian script is what you call as Kufi. That looks better compared to the normal Persian script. Okay, and arabesque pattern, it should be like symmetrical on both the sides. So that is a vegetal pattern like this. Okay, and then use of geometrical shapes to decorate the walls. These are the geometrical shapes you can see. And then jali work which is done, which is nothing but the windows which is made with the plaster of Paris. Okay, so then water fountains, courtyard pools. Okay, that's it. So these are features which you should be writing, all of these when you get a question in mains. They can directly ask you guys what are the features of Indo-Islamic architecture. Very, very, very easy and simple question which you can ever get if you get it. You cannot afford to miss it because everybody who's writing the mains, they will definitely write this. So if you are not part of that, then it is going to be a big issue for you. You cannot afford to miss this at any point of time, at any cost. That's it guys, that's from my side. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next session. We'll continue this in the next session.